Hello everyone and welcome to season 6 of the MRX Lab, the show from FlexMR, where this year we're on a mission to uncover the value created by those brilliant people in our industry and how they bring that value into their organisations. Today I'm really lucky to be joined by Patrick Alcantara, Director of Compliance and Insight with the Lending Standards Board. Welcome, Patrick.
Hi Mike, thank you. Thanks for having me.
No worries. So just to kick off the episode, Patrick, I'll hand it over to you to introduce yourself to the audience, a bit about your background.
Sure. So hello, everyone. I'm Patrick, and I am a first-generation immigrant to the UK. I came here later in life as a mature student, and I came here with nothing but a suitcase and a scholarship. Looking back at my experience, being an immigrant was not easy. I had to work twice as hard to get things that most people take for granted, like a home, a job, or a bank account. However, I've been incredibly lucky to call Britain my home. Britain gave me a chance to build a better life. I've just become a British citizen recently as well, and it really makes me thankful for being here. Britain is truly great as a country because it represents opportunity, including for immigrants like me. Right now, I look after compliance and insights for the Lending Standards Board, and our work helps create better outcomes for customers who access financial services. I used to work for successful brands like AXA, Co-op, and O2, and produce insights that help create new products and improve customer experiences. I have chaired and spoken at conferences, including the MRS annual conference, Quirks, and the CX/UX market research conferences. I'm also active in my local community and serve as a governor at Carmel College. Carmel College is an outstanding college in St. Helens and one of the top 3 colleges in the country for A-level results. All of these opportunities have been made possible because of my insights experience. It has been a wonderful career so far, and I'm grateful to be here today.
Brilliant introduction for yourself, Patrick. I think it's just touching on a point there about your positive sentiment to the UK. I feel like that's quite a breath of fresh air at the minute because there seems to be just a lot of negative stuff going around at the minute. And yeah, just touching upon your journey within market research a bit more in detail. So one thing that I've noticed since I've been in the industry, when I ask people how they got into it, they always mention the phrase, "Oh, I fell into it." You know, what about yourself, Patrick? Is that does that call out to you, or has it always been the plan to move into the industry?
Actually, it was a similar path for me. So when I first came to the UK, I studied for a master's in education. I also wanted to do a PhD in the same field and got offers from a couple of unis in Scotland. That was also the time when I got the job from the Business Continuity Institute. So I ended up choosing the job, and I ended up leading the research department of the Institute in time. And looking back at my experience, it was a fantastic opportunity to get stuck in insights. It's something that you'd call a proper job, so to speak. And I cut my teeth creating questionnaires, running surveys, transcribing interviews, writing reports, and pulling debrief decks. It gave me a solid foundation in insights. And I actually thought to myself after a couple of years doing it, oh yeah, looks great. I think I can do this for a living. So that sparked a career in insights. And I'm really lucky to be here after all of these years. Looking back at my experiences, I can say hand on heart that insights is a fantastic profession. At Insights, you are at the forefront of creating stuff. You can see how an idea turns into a new product or proposition, and it's really satisfying to see. I could only wish that Insights can be seen as another career destination, much like when kids say they want to be doctors or lawyers or engineers. And I remember having a conversation with the heads at Carmel College, where I serve as governor. And one of the things that I wanted to do there was to work towards promoting market research and insights careers to our students. And one of the things I wanted to do was to dispel the notion that you need a particular background to work in this profession. Skills required in insights like curiosity, asking good questions, and doing appropriate research, it can be learned from social sciences and humanities too. And what makes our profession so interesting is the mix of people who work in it. I've worked with colleagues who have data science, computing, maths, statistics backgrounds. But equally, I've also worked with colleagues who have backgrounds in history, sociology, and art as well. And this makes the profession really inclusive because insights is truly for everyone as long as you have the right skills.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you touched on a really important part there about, and I guess it's the beauty of I fell into it as well, that you don't have to go and study certain topics to then be really successful within the industry. It's really about those innate skills of curiosity, etc. And I've noticed that as I've worked in the industry for a short time, but like you mentioned, people come from a maths heavy background. There's a lot of people like that in the industry, but then you get people who started off as a customer service rep at a company, and then they've built the skills up internally in the role, and then they're in a customer insight manager role. And you actually find that sometimes, because they've had that frontline experience with the customer, being on the phones with the customer, that they actually are able to put them more at the heart of their decisions compared to maybe people that just come from statistics. So it's really interesting, and I think that's a really good point that you make. So you mentioned that you've moved around a couple of different sectors whilst being in insights. You currently find yourself within financial services, and a lot of your background has been within that sector. Can you sort of expand on some of the similarities and differences in insights between those sectors, if there are any?
Sure. So fundamentally, working in insights is about finding an answer to a question. So regardless of which industry you work for, whether that's in financial services or retail or manufacturing, you will come across questions that require investigation. So some of those questions might be, how do you find out what your customers want? How do you sell more products? How do you improve customer experiences? How do you make production more efficient? Or how do you meet your legal and regulatory obligations? And these questions, depending on where you are, will need answers through producing insights. And what makes insights interesting is the methods you can use to find that answer. You can find that answer that by doing qualitative or quantitative research or trawling through market intelligence or analyzing data. And the variety of methods that you can use to find that answer makes our profession such a fantastic profession to be in because no 2 days are the same. More importantly, though, working in insights, it also requires moving people into action because at its core, insights are nuggets of truth about ourselves and the world. But nuggets of truth alone do not change things. Insight professionals should tell a compelling story and lead people to change. Insights, at its core, is the business of changing people's minds. And increasingly, I find this particularly resonant because we live in a world where people don't trust each other as much, which is not entirely bad, but it requires us to contest truth and frame a good case and win arguments. But we can only do that if we understand and meet people where they are and how to appeal to their best judgment. Of course, this is true in a financial setting, but of course, there are significant differences because we work in such a highly regulated sector. Regulation means there are things that we can and cannot do. It also comes with opportunities because it pushes us to maintain that close relationship with our customers so that we remain customer-centric and help them achieve their financial goals. So giving you an example, the consumer duty is a recent piece of regulation that significantly raises the bar for the duty of care to customers. So different from other industries, we have to actively demonstrate that we are helping customers meet good outcomes. whether that's from a pricing or a fair value perspective, or creating fit for purpose products and services, or providing enough customer support, or communicating well with customers with clear financial communications. And that involves regular testing with customers. And when I was at AXA, one of the things that we've done was to create a panel where we could speak to customers regularly, which also makes it more efficient and cost effective in the process. But overall, that that ability to use regulation to be closer to our customers, but also unlock opportunities, that's definitely something that I could see is a difference for us working in financial services.
Yeah, you make some good points there, and I just want to touch upon some of the last things that you said there. So you've spoken on podcasts before, and you've mentioned about using different sort of tools and solutions that were critical to your team's success, but also bringing that value into the organisation. Can you expand on those? You mentioned the panel. How were they crucial to your team's success?
Sure. So we've talked about the consumer duty briefly earlier, and the key to complying with the consumer duty is the ability to actively demonstrate to the regulator that we are meeting good customer outcomes. So these outcomes, they involve pricing and fair value, products and services, customer support, and customer communications. We need to provide evidence that will demonstrate these outcomes on a regular basis across the organization. And that's only possible through customer testing. So I used to work for AXA, and it serves 8.9 million customers across the UK and Ireland. It is also organized along 4 lines of business. So selling business, general, and health insurance in the UK, but also we have an Ireland business that serves both Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland. So each line of business is led by its own CEO, and it runs parallel functions, including insights. You could imagine the complexity of having to provide evidence and demonstrate good customer outcomes as one AXA. And we considered this as we thought of solutions. Definitely what we wanted to happen was to show up as one AXA to our customers, as well as our regulator, and thought that doing that as one AXA will be the best solution. We also wanted to create incremental value for our insights teams across the business and make sure that we are complementing their existing toolkit. So together, we created a customer panel that enables us to regularly test with customers. We worked with an agency to build that panel of 515,000 customers and 4,000 businesses across the UK and Ireland. We used the panel for both qual and quant research. And a few of the topics that we've covered during my time included understanding vulnerable customers in our home and motor insurance business, reviewing the motor insurance journey, especially around renewal, and supporting customers with visual impairments in the health business. I'm really proud to say that the panel became a one-stop shop for research at AXA. And in the process, we've also saved 23% on average in market research costs. We've also unlocked operational efficiencies too, because now we have a central repository of research materials like questions and discussion guides. And we also get to learn from one another because we now have a place to store research all in one place.
Brilliant. That's a great outline of the benefits of panels and communities for researchers. I mean, I think the biggest thing that people will look at is also the cost-effective nature of it, especially thinking long-term like you guys did at AXA. Like mentioned, over 20% saving on your market research spending. I mean, just delving a bit deeper into that, you mentioned before about using different types of methodologies, etc. Was there something that you found the most useful bringing the customer into the organisation, a type of research that you conducted?
Well, I think, I suppose I can look at it through the overall impact of using a panel, because it gave us an opportunity to talk to one another, but also at the same time, collectively raise the standard of being customer centric, because we have this opportunity or this platform for us to do regular customer testing. And one of the things that I especially value using the panel was having that opportunity to be able to look at various businesses and really see the problems that our customers have. Because when you look at an organization like AXA, for example, which offers like different kinds of insurance, it's often easy to just lean into your silos and say, you know what, car insurance is a fundamentally different product from home insurance or health insurance. And one of the things that I had to, I suppose, constructively challenge within the organization was to say, actually, we're not so different after all. And our customers have more in common than sometimes what we think, because we're often thinking along the lines of the products that we sell, but not necessarily along the lines of how our customers live their lives. And having that panel, having that platform is an opportunity for us to actually look, look at our customers again and look at their experiences. And I think that we were much better for it because it really helped us realize that our customers definitely have more in common. There are certainly things that we can do collectively to then raise standards of customer experience and improve our customers' lives.
Yeah, brilliant, brilliant. I think, again, moving back to the regulation side of the financial services sector, it's obviously, you mentioned about consumer duty testing, and that has been the topic of conversation for at least the last 18 months, especially since I've been here. How have you been able to navigate this landscape, you and your team, because it's consistently changing all the time, and it must be at the forefront of your thinking. How have you and your team navigated it to be successful?
You're right. Regulations are ever changing in our sector, and it is a job in itself to be updated with all the changes going on. And for many organizations, they have dedicated risk and compliance colleagues who look after this on their behalf. In our case at the LSB, we have a compliance and insight function that works together, and they work very closely in order to keep abreast of what's happening in our sector. But I think what's important to also point out is what we bring to the table as insights professionals are the tools and techniques that enable an organization to gather the required customer insight to facilitate compliance. And we use changes in regulation as an enabler for better customer insight. So I work at the Lending Standards Board, and we have a mission of creating fair customer outcomes in financial services. And that is achieved through independent oversight, which essentially nudges firms to do the right thing for their customers. And what we do at the LSB aligns with the overall direction of financial regulation. But our unique proposition as a voluntary regulator involves raising standards of practice. Regulation often plays catch up with what's happening in the market, and our role involves observing emerging issues and complementing existing regulation in place. So some of these issues that we have tackled in the last few years involve reimbursing customers who lose money in authorized push payment scams, or increasing accessibility for deaf customers, or championing ethnic minority business owners whose businesses collectively contribute £25 billion to the UK economy every year, but often struggle to get credit. So my team's role is to remain at the cutting edge of regulation, raise standards, and also unlock business opportunities. Regulation often gets a bad rap for stifling growth, but that isn't true. Because fundamentally, markets only work when there is trust. Regulation enables that trust because it ensures fairness. And when the public trusts the market, especially in financial services, it unlocks opportunities. So we see our standards and codes as a competitive differentiator to businesses because that signals to customers that they are committed to maintaining that trust by doing the right thing.
Absolutely. I think you touched on an important underlying point there, that a lot of the regulation that's come in, although has been a pain for a lot of teams, is bringing a net good and is working in the favour of the consumer especially. Mm-hmm. As one of my goals to make market research more accessible for a wider audience, and you've mentioned this in your previous answers, about making sure that people know this is a career, that they don't just fall into it from a different career, from a different industry. I just want to finish off today's episode by asking you if you have any nuggets of value, words of wisdom that's helped you, either when you were starting out in a career in insights, or something that you've learned later on that's helped you advance in your role and become as successful as you are.
Mm-hmm. Sure. So for me, curiosity is the key to succeed in the insight space. So us humans, we're a naturally curious lot. So we have the right ingredients to succeed. And I would like to see more people from different walks of life to work in insights, because it provides us with a breadth of perspectives required to solve complex problems. I have noticed increasingly that many problems in business, or even our society in general, increasingly require solutions drawn from different disciplines. I did an undergraduate degree in psychology, and it helps me a lot in understanding people and their motivations. I worked with data analysts, risk and compliance specialists, project managers, and others to solve complex problems. We arrive at a much better solution because we bring our backgrounds to the table and approach a problem in slightly different ways. Communicating insights well is also key. We touched upon the nature of insights and defining it as the nuggets of truth about ourselves and the world. Nuggets of truth in itself do not change things. We need to make change happen. And change involves communicating with other human beings and collectively working out solutions to problems. We can sometimes be entrenched in our ways of thinking and tend to consume the truth that works for us or conforms to our beliefs. Insights, however, present an opportunity to change our minds and reframe the truth in a way that moves us closer to a solution. So the ability to understand an audience and tell a compelling story and appeal in an emotive way become more important.
That's a brilliant words of advice for people looking in the industry from outside or within. And I think it's an excellent place to end today's episode. Patrick, thank you so much for joining me today. And for those listening at home, I'll be back next month with another brilliant guest to discover how they're facing the challenges within our industry and continue bringing value into their organisation.